All right, welcome to the next episode of the GLITCHCAST. This is episode 2. We're going to be talking all things product, talking Wrkmelon restock, formula, nerdy stuff around why Glitch is, in my opinion, one of the best, if not the best, product line in the gaming space and overall supplement market. And I'm a little biased because one of the owners of the company, but we love it. Like we started Glitch because we love the product, and then we were like, okay, how do we sell this one time and then see if people come back to buy it again because the product's awesome. Like that was it. But today I have with us a very special guest, Scott Dodd. He is our operations manager, personal trainer, good friend of mine. Known Scott for a long time. Convinced him to come work with me and move across the country to Nashville to stand up our office and really scale up. And yeah, so Scott, thanks for being with us.
I'm excited for this.
Talk a lot about nerdy stuff today. That's right up your alley.
Love geeking out about anything health related or nutrition related. So I think this is gonna be a fun conversation. I'm excited to take a deep dive into our formula and why we think it's one of the best products on the market, and really just to educate our customer base and people who watch our content on why it's one of the best products in the market.
We really haven't. This is one thing that we haven't done well yet, is like really educate people on why Glitch is superior ultimately. Not even just superior, but why it's awesome for you. Like it's the best choice that you can make when talking about energy, hydration, and potentially some future product lines that we probably won't leak today. But
Yeah, a little teaser for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell us about yourself. How do we meet? Your background?
I think
What's your favorite color?
How we met is one of my favorite stories, because it involved a 200-pound mirrored dresser, and I probably overtell this story. But we went to Indiana Westland, right? I was on the baseball team. You were on the basketball team. Sophomore year, I actually met your wife before I met you. Her and I were in all the same classes. We both studied exercise science. And one day I got voluntold by the girl that I was dating that I was going to go help you and Danielle move that dresser up a 45-degree incline of stairs. So that's where we met, and then we slowly started to build our friendship.
Pretty sure I made you have the bottom side of the dresser as we were going up the stairs. Because
No. I had the top. I was walking up first, walking up backwards, because the two options were make the 6'6" guy walk upstairs backwards.
That's true. Never mind.
Or make him hold all of the weight.
It sucked either way, and that dresser was cracked and long gone, and we did not move it to Nashville.
Left it in St. Louis, thank God.
Yeah.
I'm glad we don't have to deal with that again.
Never again.
Yeah, but that's essentially how we met, and then continued to grow our friendship, stayed connected over the years, even after we graduated. I was actually an usher in your wedding.
Yep.
So that was a great time, great night. I moved out to Colorado. I guess like a little bit more into my background. After my sophomore year of college, I stopped playing baseball. I got into personal training, got certified that summer, started working at LA Fitness. That eventually moved me to a Lifetime. That Lifetime moved me across the country. So I got to experience time in South Houston, which is a really cool learning experience because that was my first job in management. Then I ended up moving up to Colorado for about 3-ish years, working in Lifetime, working for a company called Rep Fitness, where I got some sales experience. And then I eventually worked back in sports performance. So I worked at a space called the Sports Stable, did strength and conditioning and baseball lessons. After about 3 years in Colorado, I decided it was time to move home. We reconnected. You and I have always kind of talked about how are we potentially going to work together one day. And October of last year, we finally made that happen.
Yeah. Scott moved back to Indy where I was living before we moved down to Nashville. Glitch was going super well. All of you customers of Glitch were making my work hours insanely long as we were growing, and I really needed some help and somebody that I could trust, and somebody that can really help me manage operations. And Scott knew Scott well, knew he was like an awesome guy, and somebody that was super disciplined and super motivated and competitive, which is right up my alley and exactly what we needed. And started off and started talking about it a while ago, and probably did it way too late, but Scott came on and started making my life a lot easier, and really helped with with Glitch and the transition down to Nashville, and now we got an office and building out our team and a lot of new products coming up, and yeah, it's been crazy. So asked Scott to basically pick up his life and move with me after I moved, and yeah, now we're here.
Yep.
So
wasn't the first time, so it was a pretty easy transition.
yeah, you're all over the place. So
yeah, this is much closer to back home too, so
Sure.
I'm okay with that.
All right, before we get into it, we've got something coming out. I don't know when this podcast is releasing, but Friday, August 4th, Wrkmelon, sour Wrkmelon, is restocking, and shakers are not, unfortunately. So if you have a shaker, it's super exclusive, so kudos to you. But sour Wrkmelon restocking in energy and hydration, which this is one of our fan favorite flavors. If you can guess, it's a sour watermelon flavor. It's super good. In collab with one of our friends, Marcus, not Marcus, but funny story about Marcus is Call of Duty kept sending him packages, and they kept getting his name wrong, put Marcus on there, and so he hated it. So now I just call him Marcus every time, and I'll text him and every time we send him a package of Glitch, it says Marcus on there.
Hey Marcus, how's it going?
But
hates it.
Restocking, super good. You should go grab it, and
it's a very summer flavor.
Yeah, it's great. So, yeah, let's get into it. So, I guess one other thing, if you're watching this, you haven't tried Glitch yet, and you watch the end, we've got a special offer for you. So you're gonna have to tune into the end and find out what that is. But we'll hit on that in a bit. But yeah, we're gonna discuss like all things formula, why we formulated the way we did, the science behind it, the benefits broadly around it, use cases around the product. A lot of people haven't heard this yet. We have some of it on our website. We probably need to be better about that on our website. But
we've got some good information on Dynamine from Compound Solutions. Yeah. But if you haven't clicked on the video, you don't necessarily know why Dynamine is so good for you. So I'm excited to kind of give them more of a deep dive and kind of watering down the science behind what goes into the product.
Yeah. So really, I think probably where we should start is kind of talk about the V1 of Glitch before we had the cool branding and the sci-fi look and the new formula. And really how this is going to go too is I'm going to give like some reasoning story behind how we formulated the product, everything along those lines. And then Scott can kind of help dive deep into ingredients, the benefits around each ingredient, why we chose them, and just nerd out on all things product. So Glitch version 1, you might have heard this a little bit in the first podcast with Tyler or Wildcat, but at the time was kind of playing dorm room chemist my last semester of college, wanted to create a product and launch it around Tyler in the gaming space, and came across this ingredient that was fairly new called Dynamine. It's a patented ingredient by Compound Solutions, and just ordered some raw Dynamine and then like mixed it up in my dorm room and just took it just Dynamine and thought it was amazing. I was like, this stuff is incredible. We have to formulate around this. And then, so I had a little bit of knowledge around health and fitness, was obviously both college athletes, but started looking into formulas and looking at different competitors and what they have, what I thought they might be missing. And then we initially formulated, we didn't have caffeine in it, but we wanted to formulate around like a really, just a
nootropic heavy.
Yeah, nootropic brain cognition type of formula that ultimately wasn't like, we didn't design it to say, hey, you should take this and you'll have a better KD or better reaction time for gaming, although those benefits definitely exist in our product and debatably it might be some of the best in the space. But ultimately we took it because I just wanted a product that I could take that would really help me focus and be more productive. And that's really what we did in the first one. Candidly, like, we wanted to get something to market as fast as possible to get people's feedback and see how they liked it. The flavor, we initially thought it was good.
You went with fruit punch, which is like a normal first flavor for most products coming out.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
But kind of, if you can look from our perspective, it's like, okay, we had this idea, never launched a supplement product before. We got first samples, and like, anybody that tries a first sample of something where it was just an idea and then you make a physical product, I think you're going to be like, oh, this tastes amazing. This is awesome. in reality, I think we were just so excited for the fact that we even got samples and like put a product together that we felt was meaningful. And the formula or the flavor wasn't as good as what we thought it would be after the fact. And then so we tried to improve that, restock that.
Well, and I remember that too, because even though I wasn't a part of Glitch in 2019 when it got up and running,
I think I was sending you stuff.
yeah,
right?
you reached out to me, you sent it to me, you asked for feedback on it. And I think the two things that I noticed were the flavor was maybe a little diluted and the powder was a little grainy.
Mm-hmm.
And those are definitely things that you fixed going into V2 as you got things relaunched and up and running and
Yeah,
rebranded.
There's a slight aftertaste too, kind of like a sour, bitter aftertaste that just for people that are watching, this might be maybe too much detail, but I'll say it anyways just for the heck of it, is if a product tastes like it has nothing in it and it's just like Kool-Aid, it probably actually doesn't have anything in it that's beneficial. So if it mixes perfectly and it tastes amazing objectively,
there's probably some sugar in it, and a lot of it.
Yeah, and
or artificial, tons of artificial sweeteners.
Yeah, ultimately artificial, and then it's just probably not super effective. So there's always this challenge when you're formulating and creating a product of, one, it has to taste objectively great, but even more than that, first and foremost, like we approached it and we said, okay, the two pillars that have to be true is this product has to be objectively great from a formula standpoint and benefit standpoint. Like we're not going to cut any corners. We're not going to try to cut costs in areas that where we feel like we can sprinkle in some ingredients or like stuff our label through full of like 100 ingredients. We wanted the best ingredients at effective dosages and wanted it to taste great. So we feel like we got both of those somewhat right in the first round, but
except for the red dye.
Yeah, the red dye. We
red
hit
dye,
about
not good.
Yeah, so we had artificial coloring in it, which I really didn't know any better at the time. But as we looked into it, my grandma quickly pointed that out for me and said, "Hey, you shouldn't have this in there." And I looked into it. I'm like, "Yeah, probably shouldn't. Like, it's not the best." A lot of companies do use artificial coloring, and like, there's some debate around this, but ultimately what it came down to was artificial coloring isn't great for you, especially long term, taking it a lot, and then it also like negates focus benefits, which is pretty interesting. And
the point of the product is to focus.
Totally.
So why throw something in there that's going to be the exact opposite?
Exactly. It's not like going to completely deteriorate any of the benefits of companies that do have artificial coloring in it, but it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, if you have a great formula and then you use artificial coloring and your goal is to have focus and energy and productivity, like it's probably,
you're kind of negating
you're just kind
benefits.
of, kind of swimming upstream, so to speak. And so we kind of took a look at that. We decided we want to launch full scale, rebrand, reformulate. Got connected with one of our friends, Matt Titlow, who's the CEO of Compound Solutions. He was super excited about the brand and, having Dynamine as the forefront because it was somewhat new. And he was like, "Hey, I want to help you formulate. Like, you did a decent job, and pat yourself on the back for knowing a little bit about this space, but we're going to basically take our team of doctors and formulators and really help you make the best product on the market." And so that's what they did. We collaborated with them, really helped formulate, which they were a huge help in getting our product to where it is now. And we had a lot of collaboration. That's kind of how we stumbled upon Glitch Energy version 2, which we decided to add caffeine back. Few reasons. One, because caffeine is a massive market. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, people love caffeine. Now, I think it can be taken too much and in too heavy of dosage. So that's what we tried to negate, was like, how do we formulate with caffeine, but how do we make caffeine like almost like synergistic with the rest of the formula, not just like a pre-workout with 300 milligrams of caffeine that make you feel cracked out of your mind and then you crash an hour later. And caffeine's actually like, this isn't advice from a doctor, so like, talk to your doctor about caffeine if that's our disclaimer, but caffeine's actually really beneficial for you, especially natural caffeine in regimented dosages. Like, there's a ton of benefits around caffeine, but we didn't just want to make another caffeinated powdered
Yeah,
energy.
and the thing with ours too is the 150 milligrams is not as crazy as some of these other energy products that you're going to see that have like 300. Or there's a pre-workout that I used to take in college before I really knew any better that had 400 milligrams of caffeine.
Wow.
Yeah. And so like if you're that gung-ho kid who's scooping a half of that, you're at 600 milligrams, and then you go drink, I won't say names, but like a competitor, because I'm working 12 hours of training, I'm almost a gram of caffeine a day just between those two drinks.
Yeah,
like that's terrible.
Bang Energy has 300 milligrams of caffeine. That's probably what you're talking about.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Drink a Bang in the morning, drink a pre-workout after my first 6 hours of session so that I have energy to go lift, and then drink a Bang in the afternoon, and I'm not sleeping well at 21 years old. Like, it's not a great combination.
Yeah. And I will say, you know, some people take Glitch Energy like in the evenings to, you know, have energy for their gaming sessions, and I wouldn't do that super often because it lasts really long, and caffeine's actually not great for you after like, you know,
5 or 6 o'clock
at least. So try not to drink it in the evening because you will stay up all night.
Yeah.
Unless you want to stay up all night.
I will say that like the first sample that you sent me was a good product, right? It was okay. Yeah. And then we go version 2. The first time I had it, I think the thing that I noticed the most is the lack of crash at the end. And a big part of that is the Dynamine and the fact that it peaks at about 60 minutes and then it doesn't fully tail off until about 2.5 to 3 hours later. So you still get the effect of the caffeine. You still get that focus from the Dynamine, but it doesn't have the same kind of response on your central nervous system because Dynamine doesn't fully affect your heart. It's one of the few nootropics or stimulants, adenosine receptors, whatever you want to call it.
It's actually non-stimulant too.
It is a non-stimulant. So it's classified as non-stimulant because it doesn't actually affect your heart. It doesn't do anything to your heart rate. So it won't affect your adrenal glands either, which means that your central nervous system isn't going to get affected, which means that 150 milligrams of caffeine with us is not going to affect you the same way that 300 milligrams of caffeine from like a Bang Energy would if you drink that late at night.
Yeah.
So like, yes, you shouldn't drink it late at night so that your cortisol isn't spiked so that you have good sleep cycles, but it's not going to give you the same effect. You're going to have the 300 milligrams of caffeine effect on your brain without having that same kind of effect on your heart. And I think that's the really cool part about it.
Yeah. And on the point of Dynamine, patent ingredient, it's from the kucha tea leaf, and it not only works synergistically with caffeine, and there's studies on this where 100 milligrams of Dynamine and 150 milligrams of caffeine, which we have exact dosages in our product, Dynamine actually increases the half-life of caffeine by 2-fold. So you get 2 times longer caffeine without doubling the dose, which is really, really interesting. But it doesn't stop there. So Dynamine, what makes it so cool is it activates dopamine receptors as well. So you get dopamine modulation, which dopamine is a main neurotransmitter. You know,
it's the happy molecule.
Yeah, it's the happy molecule.
You literally get happier drinking Glitch Energy because of the dopamine response.
You do, and you'll see on our label it says energy, mood, and focus. The mood side of things is
dopamine.
The dopamine, and we also have tyrosine in there, which we can get into in a bit. But tyrosine also helps modulate dopamine receptors as well. And yeah, I think the big part about that is we wanted something that just wasn't another caffeine product, and Dynamine was kind of the star of the show here with really helping us formulate around Dynamine caffeine. And so the main benefits of Glitch Energy is really 3-tiered. So one is like the Beyond Energy, which we call Beyond Energy, or 2 times longer caffeine, and that's the Dynamine caffeine combo, which we just talked about. So you get 2 times longer caffeine without doubling the dose. You also activate your dopamine receptors. And so and you get what you would get at 150 milligrams caffeine alone, which is maybe it peaks at an hour and it lasts 2, and then you crash. With Dynamine, you get 4 to 6 hours of effective energy and motivation and mood increase over a long haul, to where if you haven't tried it, you absolutely should. We have sample packs too, just to try it, but it really does work super well. And like when we formulated and made the product, that was it. Like we wanted to make the best product possible, something that Tyler really actually believed in and enjoyed, and the authenticity would come out in his promotion. And so Beyond Energy is the first one. The second one is it boosts nitric oxide production. So the main ingredients behind that are green tea leaf extract and grapeseed extract, and then we have citrulline in there, which is a nitric oxide production ingredient. And so a lot of times those ingredients, correct me if I'm wrong, are in like, especially citrine,
They're in
pre-workouts
because it's a vasodilator.
Yeah.
So what that does is that opens up your veins essentially, so it allows better blood flow. And so if you increase your heart rate, you increase your blood flow, then it's going to circulate through your system faster.
Yeah, and so where we were headed with that was like, okay, we want increased blood flow to the brain. So more oxygen, faster ingredient delivery, more blood flow to the brain, the better the cognition. You couple that with dynamine and caffeine combo, and it's a killer combo. It's awesome. And so to round that out, what we call is our active antioxidant mesh. And so grapeseed extract and green tea leaf extract not only are vasodilators, and so to get really nerdy on this, like those two ingredients actually increase nitric oxide in a different function in your body than citrulline does. And so you're getting like synergy between those ingredients from blood flow. But green tea leaf extract and grapeseed extract are both really big antioxidants. And there's a ton of benefits around antioxidants, like just overall health and wellness, reduce oxidative stress, like a ton of awesome benefits there. But that was our approach to that, was like, okay, what ingredients, how can we get the most bang for our buck when it comes to ingredients? How do we limit the label to have only a set number of high quality ingredients, and then how do we dose them effectively or at study dosages, which a lot of, not to throw shade on other brands, but the supplement space is kind of the Wild West. It's not, it's regulated by the FDA, but your products aren't FDA approved. If they are, it'd be considered a drug, not a supplement.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the difference if people don't know. And we wanted to do it at study dosages because we thought it mattered. Like from an integrity standpoint, we didn't want to just push a product and claim the ingredients behind, or claim the benefits behind the ingredients without actually
having studies.
Yeah.
And I wonder too, I don't know if this is a practice for all supplement companies, but I know that the lab that we work with will not produce any of our product or allow us to even send our labels to get manufactured until they do a compliance check to make sure that everything that we have on the label is true. So when you look at the label, it is 100% transparent that everything that you see on the label is going to be in the product that we're about to send you.
Absolutely. And to hit on that a little bit more on our manufacturing process is when our raw ingredients come in, they're tested for a bunch of different things for safety and effectiveness, to make sure that the ingredients that showed up are actually good. They're not molded. They don't have heavy metals in them. You know, like they go through all this testing before they even produce it, and then they'll produce it, and then they'll spot check as they're producing it with different servings, and it looks like a big concrete mixer, like drum mixer. Yeah. If anybody's ever seen,
it's really cool to see like in person.
Yeah, it's super cool.
I haven't yet.
It's
like
yeah, soon enough. Yeah, we'll send you out to our lab soon. And so they'll spot check it there, do some tests, and then it gets produced. And then when it's produced, it'll sit in what they call quarantine, and that's where it'll sit, and they'll go through more testing. And then there's spot checks and redundancy where multiple people have to sign off in different parts of the manufacturing process. And so it's tested multiple times through the manufacturing process. And then when we send our labels, they do a full compliance review to make sure that what they tested on is in the product and on the label, and nothing really slips through the cracks there. So there's a lot of redundancy in our testing. I don't think that's it's with a lot of, popular brand, maybe I wouldn't even say popular, but because some brands, there've been stuff that come out on brands where like, oh, they got spot checked by, an audit, and like, their product actually isn't what they say it is, which is kind of crazy.
I remember a story about Rule 1 and Optimum Nutrition, which is like a pretty big protein, but they also do like pre-workout and other portions of health and fitness supplements. And the guys who started Optimum Nutrition ended up selling the company. They found out like a year or two later that the people changed the formula, but they didn't change the labels. So they made all of the cost a little bit cheaper. And then the guys who originally started it got so aggravated that they then started Rule 1 to go back to the original Optimum Nutrition formula. And it's been crushing it since. Like Rule 1 took over the GNC space, vitamin shops. There's a place called Point Blank back in Carmel, Indiana that I used to go to all the time, and especially because it was right across the street from the LA Fitness that I worked at, which is where I heard the story. So if that's true, I don't know. but the guy who was running the shop told me that. So
I believe it.
And you see it all the time in the supplement space where people will take a product and like it's a professional athlete and they get popped for something that they didn't know was in the product they were taking. So I think that's why I wanted to hammer on like the transparency of the label, because we try to be as true to our consumer as we possibly can.
Yeah. And we don't hide behind what's called proprietary blends either. And so very rarely do you see a product that actually should hide their formula. Maybe they have their, maybe the combo of ingredients is really important to them where it makes sense for them to hide behind a, you know, a proprietary blend where they have to list the ingredients, but not what the ingredients are dosed at. And so, but a lot of people took that and just took advantage of it and sprinkled in ingredients. And
I think that's probably what happened with that Optimum Nutrition too.
Probably
they just kept the blends on there, but they just dosed them down.
Yeah, I mean, definitely believe it. And to round out the energy formula, like I said, we wanted to have ingredients all at effective dosages or study dosages to where when you're taking the product, you know that it's been studied for efficacy, and the benefits that we're claiming around the product actually are the benefits and dosed accordingly. And so, and then we rounded out with, you know, we wanted it sugar-free, obviously. We wanted it naturally colored, naturally flavored.
No red dye.
No red dye. And then dairy-free, gluten-free, soy-free, vegan-friendly, everything that we could do to make a really good, clean product
that
outside of the
anybody
formula.
can use.
Yeah. And so we just went all out on it. And candidly, like, our cost per unit is probably double, triple, quadruple some of the other people in the space that are similar products. And we went all out on it, and we sacrificed a lot of product margin to do so. And I don't regret it. You know, I think it would be hard to sleep at night if you knew that you were, you know, quote unquote, scamming people with a kind of a cheap product.
Dog water.
Yeah, dog water, one might say. So
I think the thing that I love the most about it is back to literally anybody can use it. Like, my dad's a principal. He absolutely loves it. My brother's an accountant. He's tried it. He enjoys it. He's not a big energy drink kind of guy, so I don't think he takes it quite as much, but my dad loves it now, and he'll mix our Error 404 hydration with the lemonade, and it's his favorite combination. So if you don't mix and match any of your flavors, I highly recommend, because you can have some fun with the flavor profiles.
Yep.
I take it for pre-workout. Like, I don't necessarily need all the stems of like beta alanine that gives you like the itches and the jitters, because it's just the right amount of boost to do anything that you need to do. And so when you sent me the, you know, electric lemonade and space berry to try it out for the first time, I was like, yep, I no longer have to buy supplements from an Optimum Nutrition or anywhere else, because I can go here for the energy and the hydration. And once you drop the hydration, I was very excited.
Yeah,
because that's something that I've been looking forward to for a long time.
Yeah, and let's talk about that as well. But just kind of to round out the energy side was, we wanted to make our first product something that was an absolute staple, that was as flexible as possible. So yes, you can take it and actually perform better in the gaming space. There's actually some studies on Dynamine for that exact purpose in the gaming space around accuracy, reaction time, just endurance while you're playing. And I think there's a lot of cool benefits there that maybe in a future episode or in some short form content we'll talk more about. But generally, we wanted something that you can take as a pre-workout, you could take as a general energy supplement to where
just pick me up in the middle of the day.
Pick me up, take it for work, take it for working out, you know, gaming, and all of these different use cases for all these different demographics. I think that's what makes Glitch so interesting, is like anybody could benefit from taking the product.
It's versatile.
It's super versatile, yeah. But so hydration, we knew with our second product, like, we wanted to, everything that we drop, we wanted to be super innovative. So it's getting harder and harder to do that in the supplement space. And the only way that you can really do that is if you get creative, and then also you're willing to sacrifice product margin, because innovation comes at a cost, and it's real dollars. So every time you put an effective ingredient in there, especially if it's a patented ingredient, usually those are a lot more expensive, and there's a lot more hoops that you have to go through to actually formulate with those. But we wanted to make the best products possible that were innovative and different to anybody in our space. And so when we thought about hydration, we knew we wanted hydration to be the second product line, but we wanted to do it right. And so we didn't want to just make another cheap hydration product that, you know, is basically, you know, Kool-Aid with some electrolytes in it.
Yeah.
We wanted to formulate around functional hydration with brain benefits. And that was like our approach there. So really the three main drivers behind hydration were obviously hydration. 90% of cognition is pretty much 90% of cognition is hydration. So if you're dehydrated, your brain doesn't function as well.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how many energy drinks that you drink.
Yeah.
If you're not hydrated, you're not going to get good effects from it. And ultimately, if you're dehydrated and you drink caffeine, caffeine's a what's the word I'm thinking of? Diuretic. So
Yeah.
it actually
You're gonna have to urinate more.
Yeah, exactly. That's about the best way to put it.
Yeah.
And so with that, you get dehydrated faster. And so
Yeah.
you want something that you can take in conjunction with that, drinking a lot of water. But we wanted hydration to be that kind of staple. And we wanted products to be able to stack too, to where you can take a scoop of hydration and a scoop of energy and get all the benefits of both at the same time if you wanted it. So,
The other thing that I think about too is how many people are actually drinking 128 ounces of water a day.
probably not many. I do. But
Yeah. All right, Jack, I see you.
Jack does too.
I appreciate that about you.
Scott, you probably do.
I probably get in a gallon a day.
Yeah.
I try to get in a gallon a day, but there's not a lot of people who do that. They'll
No.
drink maybe 36 ounces of water. So like, how can you kind of negate those effects? Because if you're not properly hydrated, like your blood viscosity changes, so it's thicker.
Yeah.
Things
Blood
don't flow
pressure
as
goes
well.
up.
Blood pressure goes way up.
Yep.
Your body is 70% water.
Yeah.
So like you have to make sure that you stay hydrated, or things just do not flow. Your organ function starts to go down. Like there's so many negative side effects. So
Yeah.
making sure that you stay hydrated, whether it's a powder or actually getting your 128 ounces in a day, is so crucial to all of your bodily functions.
Yeah. We wanted this to coexist with, like, we definitely recommend, like, if you're watching this, drink a lot of water.
Yeah.
There's no replacement for water, but a lot of people get bored with water. They don't like water. It doesn't taste,
Yeah.
it tastes like water. You know what I mean? And there's
Yeah.
no taste. And I think with our super short-term instant gratification brains in 21st century that
I
we
drank
live
my
in,
2 scoops of hydration though, so I'm good.
Yeah, that's good. But you got to drink a lot of water too. But so hydration, main benefit here, but we want it to be functional. So we dosed it effectively, but we didn't dose it like you're an Olympic athlete. And the ratios are good. A lot of times with hydration, it's about the electrolyte ratios. So another brand, which I won't name any names, but it's a huge brand that's blown up recently with 2 big creators.
Yep.
And there's a lot of controversy around their hydration product because
It's
was
mostly potassium.
dosed kind of weird.
Yeah.
It wasn't dosed as like a performance hydration drink.
Mhm.
And so for us, we want to make sure those ratios were right with potassium and sodium. And and for the record, like salt, a lot of people think, oh, I shouldn't have salt. Salt's bad. Salt's bad for your cholesterol. Salt's bad for your blood pressure. Now, if you take a ton of salt, like
Yeah.
a ton of it, it can be bad, but salt is good for you.
Yeah.
We need to say that like 100 times. Salt is good for you in moderation.
Yep.
Like it actually is. Just as if
You
caffeine
need
is good for
sodium
you
in your
too.
diet.
Yes.
You have to have sodium in your diet because there's so many functions that electrolytes do for your bodily functions too, that if you do not have them present, things are not going to work.
Yeah.
So the fear of sodium, I think, is slowly starting to go away,
Which is good.
but it's the people that salt literally every single meal that it's like, you probably need to back it up just a little bit.
Yeah.
And it actually
probably.
helps shuttle your carb absorption too. So like if you salt your carbs, that's actually good for your body because they're going to digest and absorb better in the digestive system.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Salt your carbs.
That's really, yeah,
You're welcome.
it's a good nugget.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyways, hydration, first and
Sorry.
foremost.
Tangent alert.
No, it was a good tangent. But the 3 main benefits, hydration, and then memory, and then on the front of our label, we also put Lucidity, and I'll get into what those mean. But for memory, we wanted a functional hydration product that was good for anybody. You can take it for performance athletics, and you really can't overdo it with our hydration product. Like I should preface that with like, you probably shouldn't do 10 scoops a day. I don't know. I know like there's days where I'll do like 3-4 scoops.
Yeah.
And but if I'm more active or I'm sweating a lot, that's where that would kind of come into play.
Yeah.
But the memory side, we wanted to have brain boosting ingredients that were non-stimulant that ultimately helped with something that you could take on a daily basis. So choline and Huperzine A were the ingredients that we used. We felt really strongly about them. We did them as studied dosages, and both those ingredients help with memory, recall, attention, focus. And the interesting part about those ingredients is the benefits get better over time. So if you're consistently taking and dosing those in your diet, you actually have, and obviously with memory, there's short-term memory, which is like, what did I say 5 minutes ago? And then there's long-term memory, which is like, what did I say when I was 10?
Yeah.
And both of those kind of go hand in hand. And then to round off the third point with lucidity is what we called it. But ultimately lucidity is basically just means like neuroplasticity. And that's also kind of another big nerdy word, but neuroplasticity is the forming of new neurons in your brain. And so your synapses, and what that does is when your brain makes new neural connections, it actually increases your memory and attention. And there's a whole slew of benefits for neuroplasticity and what that is. And those ingredients actually help aid or, support a boost in neuroplasticity, which is super cool. So, and then the same thing with the energy, sugar-free, naturally colored, naturally flavored, vegan-free or vegan-friendly, not vegan-free,
Vegan-free.
gluten-free, soy-free, dairy-free,
Yeah.
all this stuff. And fully transparent label. Like anybody could take our formula and go copy it, which is kind of interesting. A lot of people won't do it though, because ultimately like our product is high cost. So for companies that don't have the margin and don't want to, stand behind a really effective product, they would never copy it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a moat for us, I would say. Like anybody can copy it and try to scale, but it's a little bit more tough. And the only way that this really is beneficial long term is like if we keep growing and keep selling more, because our costs should go down at scale when we're ordering more labels and plastics and all that stuff. But that's why we launched hydration, really, is because to stack those products. And so they're super good.
If you think about the two together too, like Dynamine in and of itself, and I don't think we touched on this, but it has the 15-minute like activation period, and that's because it's a derivative of caffeine. And so what happens on like the molecular side of things is that there's a methyl component that is like basically shifted around, and what that does with it, it makes it hydrophilic. And hydrophilic means that it's not so much afraid of water as like other hydrophobic components. Caffeine takes about 30 to 45 minutes to activate in your system. Because Dynamine is more hydrophilic, that means that it is going to get into your system quicker, and that means it's going to be able to break the blood-brain barrier a lot quicker. So if you're combining those two things together, not only do you have maybe better reaction time, maybe better focus, but then you have the memory on top of it. So you're getting more focus from the choline, you're getting more focus from the Dynamine. And so those two things, when you make them in tandem, are pretty beneficial for brain function, no matter what it is that you're doing, whether it's focusing in on your spreadsheets or trying to increase your KD when you're playing Call of Duty.
Absolutely. And so let's go into a little bit of use cases in the hydration too, because I know people were asking about that. And then we got a few Q&A for the community in our Discord. And if you haven't joined the Discord, we're going to open that to the public here very soon, so be on the lookout for that. And then we'll also give people, especially people that haven't tried Glitch, the new trial offer that we want to run, and go from there. But yeah, hydration use cases, obviously, like when you think of a hydration product, you think fitness first and foremost. And for us, like that wasn't actually the focus. It was more around the cognition. But Glitch hydration, great if, great pre, during, post workout. I don't know. I'll let you hit on this more around use cases around our hydration product, because like this is your wheelhouse for sure.
Yeah. So hydration is something to be taken throughout any portion of the day. And I think even with the energy too, like C-Force came up with this question, which I think was huge, because I think most people think like, if I'm going to drink the energy, I need to do it either before workout or as I get into the heart of gaming. But they really can be used at any given point of the day. Like, for example, if I know that I'm going to work out in the afternoon, I probably won't take a Glitch in the middle of the day, an energy drink in the middle of the day, because I don't want to double scoop on it. But I'll do a hydration mid-morning after I drink my kombucha, because I'm focused on my gut health. So I'll drink a hydration to kind of start the day on top of the kombucha. And then right before I go into my workout, I'll drink my scoop of Glitch Energy. I'm probably mixing flavors just because I like to do it. And then I'll throw hydration in there as well. So that's what I'm sipping on like as I'm going through my workout. Some people will drink the whole thing before. Hydration is also a great post-workout, just to make sure that you're replenishing your electrolytes after you've sweat them all out. But it's like you said, it's something you can't really overdo unless you're doing like 10 scoops a day. And with the vitamin complex and the way that we have it kind of built up, you're not going to overdo it with the vitamins either. If you take a scoop of energy and 2 scoops of hydration.
Yeah, that's one thing I forgot to hit on too, and especially in our energy, we've got 4 essential vitamins, all dosed at a 100% daily value or above. So, and all of our vitamins in there are naturally derived too. So, there's these like little tiny things that we did where we could have said, okay, let's do a synthetic vitamin, or do we want to do a natural vitamin? And natural vitamins cost more, but we're like, no, we want to do the very best formula that we can do with the very best ingredients that we can come up with. And on the hydration too, it's one of those things. It genuinely tastes amazing, and which was really hard to do, mind you.
What's nuts is that ours has always come out pretty sweet, and for something that has, I can't remember if it's actually right in front of me. Let me look at it. We can clip that out.
No, keeping it.
Keep it. Okay. Bloopers. So our hydration has 410 milligrams of sodium and 380 milligrams of potassium. And for something to have more sodium in it, for it to not be like super salty is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So it's not a salty flavor. It's more sweet, honestly, than even our energy.
Yeah.
Truly. Like there's some flavors that we've had that are, nectar is the only way that I could think about describing it, because it is just like it's a sweet, not super thick, but it's, and I don't want to say syrup because that seems like the wrong word, but it is like, it's a very sweet flavor to it. And so when you mix the two together,
it doesn't feel healthy when you're drinking it.
No,
which isn't a bad, I mean, it tastes like a treat.
Honestly. And I think that's the nice part about it. Cause some of the other electrolyte formulas that you'll find, like Element's 1,000 milligrams of sodium, that's going to taste salty.
Yeah.
Even Liquid IV tastes a little salty to me. Yeah. And the fact that I think we maybe have 40 milligrams less of sodium in ours, and ours doesn't taste salty at all, is kind of crazy.
And kudos to Element. I love Element as well. They really lean into the salt. Every flavor is flavor name salt.
Yeah.
And, but we took a lot of inspiration from Element actually, especially around, how they've positioned their brand from a hydration standpoint, and got a lot of respect for a lot of, quote unquote, I wouldn't call them necessarily competitor. Obviously it's a competitive product, but,
different market.
In the gaming space though, a lot of people take the consumers for granted, I think, in the gaming space. I think they assume that people don't care and don't care to understand what product they're taking, which maybe some of that's true, maybe not. I don't think it's actually true. I think consumers are smart, especially in the gaming space. It's, the best digital community in the world, and people do the research. And so for us, we knew we wanted to be a step above anybody else when it comes to formulation. And hydration is something you can take any time of the day too, and it's beneficial. So especially a late night gaming session, instead of reaching for that next scoop of energy, try hydration, because chances are you might be a little dehydrated by the end of the day, and you might feel a lot better after you drink hydration.
I've got a buddy too. He's a physical therapist that told me that the hydration has been helping him with like his intermittent fasting throughout the day, and it also curbs all of his sweet cravings. So like at the end of the night, when he feels like, should I go grab the cookie? Should I go eat whatever? He's like, I'll just take a scoop of the hydration and it kills all of my sweet cravings. Like, perfect. Your cut's going to go great then.
Perfect. Health hack.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I forgot to say about the energy that I really wanted to hit on, and then we'll get into some of the other questions and wrap this up. But health hack around caffeine consumption. So a lot of people reach for the caffeine
too early
right when they wake up, and there's actually some brands, some products that I've seen out there that like talk about this, their morning routine and morning cocktail, and mixing it up the night before and chugging it before you even leave your bed. That is awful for your adrenal system. That's awful for your, like, the biggest thing that you need in the morning right away is electrolytes and hydration. Because you don't drink any water for the
8 hours.
8 hours that you're
Hopefully
sleeping.
8 hours.
Yeah, which get a lot of sleep. Sleep is also great for you. But if you wait 60 to 90 minutes, your adenosine receptors don't start actually working until 60, 90 minutes after you wake up. And so what happens is your adenosine receptors, so what caffeine does is it blocks adenosine receptors, which make adenosine receptors. That's what makes you feel tired. So,
and your body naturally wants to do that too.
Yeah.
So when you wake up and you immediately chug caffeine, then you're teaching your body that it doesn't have to do that anymore. It's like when people take testosterone, their body stops turning on their natural testosterone.
Yeah.
So like doing that with caffeine, you're essentially teaching your body, like, I don't have to worry about blocking the adenosine because something else is going to do that for me. So if you can hold off that 60 to 90 minutes, you're allowing your body to do it itself. And then the caffeine comes in and kind of helps out.
Yep. And this is taking a page from Huberman Labs podcast, Dr. Huberman. Which
You're a Huberman husband for sure.
Oh yeah, I love Dr. Huberman. Puts out great. If you haven't listened to his stuff, Huberman Labs podcast, go check it out. He had this segment around, just morning routine, energy, focus, all of that good stuff. And a really, really good morning routine is wake up, have some electrolytes, some salt, some potassium, maybe some glitch hydration, one might say.
Yep.
And then
Shameless plug.
Don't get on your phone because that messes up your brain in so many ways right away. You're activating some dopamine that shouldn't probably be there with first thing when you wake up. And go and get some sunlight. So natural sunlight, don't look directly into the sun, but natural sunlight in your eyes.
Stare into the sun for at least 10 seconds.
Yeah. Natural sunlight in your eyes. It's a sunny day. Get at least 5 to 10 minutes. If it's cloudy, try to get as long as you can, 45 minutes to an hour. And then by that time, it might be time for your caffeine dose. And if you can essentially do that and then take your caffeine 60 to 90 minutes later, you will feel absolutely amazing throughout the day. And don't take my word for it. You got to try it. If you try it, let us know what you think in the comments. That's my morning
different.
routine.
If you're that person that has to have 3 cups of coffee to get their day started, then waiting that 90 minutes, you might start to notice that you don't really need it, or you might not need it until like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Or if you have it 90 minutes later, you're not going to need that second cup at 3 or 4 in the afternoon.
And
it makes a big difference.
And with Glitch Energy, with the Dynamine caffeine combination, you actually get an extended benefit of caffeine over a longer duration, which should make you actually consume less caffeine.
Yeah, I really like Matt's analogy on the video that we have on our website, where he says, why would you just blow a trumpet at somebody when you can play the symphony at them? And so the double whammy combo like really extends
Wombo combo.
Really just makes the product as a whole so much more beneficial.
Yep. Agreed. So yeah.
When to use Glitch at any point throughout the day, just don't do it right before you go to sleep, unless it's hydration.
Yep. So, which kind of answers some of the questions from the community.
Yeah.
What are the ones we
ones we didn't necessarily tap on?
What was the first one?
The first one was an in-depth difference between energy and hydration, when to use them.
From C Forest.
Yep. Idle versus active. True Sniper asked about one factor that we knew that we wanted in Glitch when we started the product. And I think we pretty much hammered that home of the focus and utilizing Dynamine as the pillar, and then utilizing something for memory and focus for the pillar of the hydration formula.
Yeah. We don't want to recreate the wheel
in
our products. We always want them to be innovative. And so if you're wondering why we don't release more products and different product lines faster, it's because we take so much time and effort into making sure that this product is truly innovative in the space and it fits the Glitch brand.
Yeah.
And
we teased the new one in the last episode, the third product that we're thinking about rolling out, and it probably won't come for another 3 to 6 months because we want to make sure that it's perfect. We want to make sure that it has a great flavor. We want to make sure that it has a good purpose. And I think that's what I'm most excited about with this new project that I'm working on.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Which we'll keep teasing it more, but you'll hear more in the future. But last question, Cole Guy 13 asked about clumping in our hydration. So some of our early hydration, if you let it sit and there was more humidity maybe, or maybe it sat in your car or whatever, it starts to clump up. It's actually fine to drink still. I just want to throw that out there. It's nothing wrong with the product, but we quickly saw that, and basically the ingredients that we have in there, especially the electrolyte side of things, they're really hard to keep from binding and clumping. And so What we did was we added bamboo extract in there, there's a whole slew of health benefits of bamboo extract, but another kind of like side benefit is it helps with moisture and humidity. And so it actually acts as a dehumidifier in the product, but it actually comes with a lot of health benefits. So the big thing too is like, we don't put any fillers in our product.
Yeah.
And so we didn't want to put any filler in either one of our products. And so bamboo extract really filled that gap, and we made that change pretty quickly. But yeah, any hydration that you get now should be completely fine. And yeah, so on that note, if you haven't tried Glitch yet, you've got special.
Do I get to do that?
Yeah, because this was your idea.
Okay.
Glitch Energy is one of the cleanest energy sources you'll find on the market.
It's basically a multivitamin with caffeine or hydration components in a powder.
Whether you're logging in hours of gaming, hitting spreadsheets in the office, or working out, Glitch Energy is the best tasting, all natural energy and hydration powder you can find.
Head to glitchenergy.co now to grab our one-of-a-kind energy matrix and a hydration matrix so you can glitch the system this summer.
And for the listeners of the podcast, we'll even throw in a 15% discount when you use code GLITCHCAST at checkout. Maybe we'll go into detail in some future content around comparison between other products. Obviously, like we don't want to. We're very
crap
careful
on competitors.
Yeah, we don't. To be frank, I don't really care about competitors. I respect the crap out of a lot of our competitors.
Yeah.
How they've grown, the brand that they built, the community that they built. But I won't lie to you. We basically looked at the competitive landscape and we said we're going to make a product that's way better than all of these products.
Yeah.
And we might do some comparison content in the future, respectfully, but ultimately it's just to educate people on, as you're a consumer in the gaming space looking to make a choice on, what energy product should I consume, what hydration product should I consume,
or if you're a big creator trying to figure out who to work with.
Yeah, absolutely. We truly care about our product, we care about our brand, we care about our creators, and ultimately we want to help you make the best choice possible, and we want you to live, your healthiest life. And so for us, that's really what it's all about. That's why we created the products that we did. That's why we stand behind our products, and that's why we, frankly, pay a lot more for our products to make them than other competitors. Like in with a very comparable price point. So we're actually making less money than competitors that you might be thinking of right now, which that's okay. I think for us, it's like, we just wanted to bring the best product to the market, and I think that's what we did. So we appreciate you listening to the podcast. If you have any suggestions on future guests, future topics, let us know. If you haven't subscribed yet, click the subscribe button, like the video, leave us a comment on your favorite part, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Don't forget to glitch the system.